We are going to state, baby. Yes, the state playoffs are just around the corner, and the Curtain Call podcast will be there. Man on Second will be in Fort Myers, and exciting times here. Amazing high school baseball action. The high school regional finals completed yesterday on Saturday. Which tees everything up for the state playoffs coming up midweek in Fort Myers. I shall be there for the full week, and it should be a lot of fun. And South Florida will be well represented. Yes, sir. Welcome to the Curtain Call podcast here on the Man on Second channel. And exciting times, obviously, with the playoffs. That's what everyone played all year for this opportunity. Just an amazing time for these high school players and everybody as the season is really coming to a close. But what a remarkable season with some good stuff. Before we jump into the show, first, we're recording this on Sunday, so I do want to wish Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there, and just Happy Mother's Day, all the players. Wish your moms Happy Mother's Day and everything. Moms are so special. So Happy Mother's Day to all. Get that out of the way and have a good day. We're going to do a little barbecue in here, and it should be fun here at the Man on Second household. And then let's get down to the business. Let's please like and subscribe to the channel. Means so much as we're growing this network out. Channel's doing remarkably well, or topped, what are we, May 10th, already topped 800,000 for the month in total views. More than 7 million views in the last 14, 15 months, as I'm losing count. We're growing so fast. On pace for another 2 million view month. So it's going to be a huge couple of weeks ahead as we really dive into the state playoffs. Really hope to really expand the channel as Man on Second heads to the west coast of Florida to Fort Myers. But let's start right. We'll kind of go top to bottom. Saw 3 games this past week. I'll start in reverse order with 7A, seeing the Stoneman Douglas Eagles going back to Fort Myers in a remarkable series with West Broward. Was at Douglas the other day, and just a elation celebration for the Eagles. Obviously, heartbreak for the Bobcats. We'll talk about West Broward as well, because that team deserves a lot of credit. But what does it come down to? Let me tee it up, and let's hope this video wants to work with me. This is what it came down to, folks. 2 outs in the 7th inning, down by a run, with the tying run at first and the go-ahead run at the plate being Lorenzo Laurel. It was the Zoe show, as you see what happens here. Zoe gets a pitch he can handle on a 0-1 count and just crushes it to left field. A walk-off 2-run homer for the junior Florida commit. You see he's getting the Gatorade bath there, and just a remarkable, the swing of the year, the hit of the year for Douglas, the moment of the year. Now, keep in mind, had Douglas lost, they would have played a decisive Game 3 on Saturday at West Broward. Douglas wanted no part of that, and Lorenzo Laurel, even though for a minute it looked like that a third game was certainly possible, but this is why Stoneman Douglas are champs. They won 4 straight. They won, I don't know how many, a lot more than that, it seems like, but they had a chance to go for 5 in a row. And that's just an amazingly clutch at bat where you're not trying to do too much yet. You hit a home run, you take the first pitch, you get a pitch that's up in the zone, and you don't miss it. Just a huge inning. But I do want to kind of break that inning down, because that was a fascinating final few innings of that game. We will rehash Game 2. Obviously, it's a best of 3 here in the regional. Throughout all the 3 regional rounds, best of 3. Douglas took care of business. I think it was 6-0 in Game 1 with Gio Rojas doing Gio things. But Game 2 was a different story. Douglas scores, I think, 2 in the first and 2 in the second, take a 4-0 lead. West Broward chips back to make it 4-2, as they do. If you don't put West Broward away, they will find a way to make a game of it, and they certainly did. The Bobcats rallied back with 2 runs to make it 4-2. And then I think it's the 4th inning or 5th. Everything's blurring together. I didn't even write notes, folks. I'm just firing this out today. My boy Ethan Lindor hits a grand slam, and it makes it 6-2. I think that was the fifth inning. So completely excuse me, 6-4. It was 4-2. The home run makes it 6-4 in favor of the Bobcats. They get out of the bottom of the sixth inning, come to the top of the seventh. West Broward adds on an insurance run to make it 7-4. And I know the Bobcats are going to be kicking themselves because they had a chance to add on more. And it came down to, even though they executed to get that run, they attempted a suicide squeeze. Batter either missed the sign or certainly he didn't put the ball in play. So it was a first and third, I believe. They get the guy on third in a rundown. The guy on first tries to go all the way to third. It might have been a sack. It doesn't matter. He was trying to get to third. As it turns out, Douglas was able to get the runner out in the rundown, throw to third, and get the out to end the inning. So missed opportunity for West Broward to add on even more runs, but that comes down to execution. And so comes up to the bottom of the seventh with Gio Rojas leading off, and Gio I thought he had an amazing at bat because he was 2 strikes down, and West Broward had him shifted up the middle with the second baseman for the right-handed hitting Gio Rojas, left-handed throwing but right-handed hitting, and Gio just got a pitch up in the zone, and you could see, he was just looking to get on base. Down 3, he wasn't trying to necessarily hit a home run or do anything. Looking to get on base, he got a pitch up. He hit what would have been a ground ball to second, but because of the shift, that goes into right field for a leadoff single. So I thought a great piece of hitting, great awareness by Gio to do that. This is why Gio Rojas is special. It's probably no one will talk about that, but man on second doesn't miss anything, and we see the game inside the game. So great piece of work by Gio. Gets on first there, amazing piece of hitting. Then Nick Diaz, who's been super hot, he jumps on a first pitch and just kind of rips a line drive to left field, over toward the left field line. First had a chance to look like it possibly could be a double, but ends up being a single. But Gio's good read off the bat. He goes into third. So it's first and third, no outs. Bringing up Michael Osenfort, and what happens with Osenfort. So it's first and third. I think there was a wild pitch involved there, which moved the runners up and scored a run. So now it's 7-5. Whitey, Michael Osenfort, they nicknamed Whitey. He hits a ground ball in the shortstop's backhand side, fields it, bounces the throw to first, gets by Reggie Rodriguez at first. So the error brings in another run and puts the tying run at first. So now it's a 2-run. It's a 2 runs are in the inning. It's a 7-6 game, and so all of a sudden you get Adrian Bermudez is now pitching. He records 2 straight strikeouts. So we're down to Lorenzo Laurel up for to win it or go home or go to a game 3. And like I said, let's throw this replay one more time because it was an amazing piece of hitting. And don't do this to me now. Come on. All right. We won't see it for a third time. But you guys got the picture. And Lorenzo did his job and wins the game that way. So, again, just overall thoughts on Stoneman Douglas. This team is built to win it all. They won 4 in a row. They're gone back again, looking to win number 5 in a row, which would be remarkable. Could be a record. I don't, spend a lot of time looking at the history of the high school records. But again, this is a battle-tested team. It's a team that probably has the best overall pitching in the state at any level. And, pitching has dominated the playoffs. But for Douglas's point of view, in a game they gave up 7 runs with a chance to have given up more runs to win that game because their offense is now woken up. Seeing a lot of good team at-bats, a lot of guys, grinding out at-bats from, 1 through 9. Everyone from Bennett Gary leading off to Cade Rayleigh at the bottom of the order. He had a remarkable at-bat, I think it was a 9 or so pitch at bat earlier in the game where he even with 2 strikes, showed bunt, pulled it back and swung away for an RBI hit. I have that hit as a short on the the YouTube channel for all to see. A lot of isolated. No, obviously the full gamer, the gamer highlights are up on the channel as well for people to kind of see how that game unfolded. But again, the team at bats, the grinding, they're battle tested, they're big game tested. They've been built to play 3 games in a week. They were built to win a 2 out of 3 series. Now we're going to the just single elimination. After the regional quarters, semis, and finals and regionals, all 2 of 3. They swept them all. They won district, so they've won, I don't know, 12, 13, 14 in a row, whatever it is that Douglas has won. Might be even 17, I don't know. But, they're certainly hot. And there's that feeling of invincibility when you get the drama of a walk-off, moment and not having to play that decisive third game. The breakdown, I'm doing this before the state Final Four matchups have been set. So what I'll probably do this week is I'll do a few of these, probably shorter little podcasts from Fort Myers and leading up, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. I ramble a lot, so it'll probably be 15 minutes and pop them up there as well. But these are the winners. Now, the 7A, you don't want to get too cocky if you're Stoneman Douglas because you got to play everybody. But there were some upsets, and Douglas clearly will be the top seed. Haggerty upsets number 1 seed Spruce Creek, which has been in my high school on SI top 10. They win 2 out of 3 there. And then the biggest upset, Alonzo defeats number 1 seed Venice. I thought Venice was, on a collision course to play Douglas in the championship game. Venice, national power. Some people have them as one of the top 10 teams in the country, but they will not be going to Fort Myers. Alonzo, I believe that was where the late great Jose Fernandez went to school at Alonzo. They win that series in 3. And then our good friends up in Palm Beach County, Jupiter wins against Park Vista. The number 3 seed beats number 4 seed. So we got, and I'm going to claim Jupiter. Seen them a couple of times. Joe Giamulli, friend of the program, known Joe when he was coaching over at Taravella. So they are now in the state Final Four, and of course the Stoneman Douglas Eagles. So again, you got to show up, and you got to figure out how you're going to set your pitching. Do you go with Gio Rojas in the semifinals, and I guess you kind of see what the matchup is, and then go with Daniel Tartaglia and the combination of other pitchers, Chase Wildrout, and they got Braylon Courtney, who's available. He's kind of thrown in relief of Gio. He's kind of their closer, but they have a lot of arms. They got a lot to play with in the single elimination. So very interesting to see what Douglas does. I do want to give a hat tip. I love those guys over at West Broward. Love the coaches. Howard Stein and staff does an amazing job. This one's, I know it hurts a lot because that team's very talented. Certainly put itself in position to have played that third game. Showed so much heart, to take the lead. Coming back from 4 down against Douglas at Douglas is no small feat. They'll be kicking themselves, but those players, the seniors that are leaving, everyone from Angel Figueroa to Lenny Sufran, Anthony Sanchez, those seniors, amazing run. They really talented players. I wish all of them the best and love covering every one of them. The juniors, my guy, Mano Sarkos, Ethan Lindor, Reggie Rodriguez, Ivan Sabater, A-Dog, Adrian Bermudez, all those guys, they've been playing together. What a core they have. Then the sophomore sensation, Sergio Garcia, they are going to be back. I'm curious to see what they do in the offseason and if anybody kind of moves into West Broward. Amazing run. Don't get your heads too far down because it is baseball and it shows anything's possible. But, any little lapse in focus can mean your season coming to an end. But again, hat tip, West Broward, love you guys, and we'll be following you guys in the summer. Congrats again to Stoneman Douglas as they move on. As I'm doing this, I'll go in reverse order. When I saw Probably the playoff matchups I was looking forward to the most was St. Thomas Aquinas against Doral Academy. I just thought that had a chance. I thought those were kind of the national games of the year, at least of the playoffs, I should say. I don't want to be too hyperbolic, but that went 3 games. I was at game one. Uh, Congratulations to St. Thomas Aquinas. They win it in 3. They win game one 8-4, and that was an amazing game as well. That was early on. You could see the nerves of the pitching was there. Everyone was kind of really amped up. I think 2 runs in the first, I think, of game one for Doral, and then I think it was like 3 runs or so for 2 or 3 runs for St. Thomas. But either way, it was a 4-2 game at one point, and then Gabo Milano, my guy, the third baseman for Doral, a Miami commit who I'm hoping gets drafted. He has a 2-run homer to tie it. The place is electric because Doral has a lot of passionate fans there. St. Thomas fans are passionate, obviously playing in St. Thomas, a lot of energy in the ballpark. And then, we come into the 6th inning in a 4-4 game, and Nico Sabatino, my guy, does Nico things leading off. This was an amazing moment for him. It's a grand slam to put his team up 8-4, setting the stage of that inning. Like I said, Nico with a really good swing. I think it was a first pitch. I think it might have been ball one. This is like a second pitch. Again, doing this at the top of my head from being there. But 4-4 going into that inning, into the bottom of the 6th. Marcelo Rodriguez, the really good pitcher for Doral Academy, the Arizona State commit. He's like getting up there in pitches. He has like 2 on and 2 out, and he's approaching a pitch limit. I don't know what it is, 107 or something like that. But he ends up, I think, right before, I think Brad Sigler, I believe, was hitting 9th, and Nico Sabatino leading off. And Brad had a really good at bat. And I thought Marcelo got a little out of his rhythm. I think he was ahead in that count. I want to say 1-2 at one point, but it looked like at that point he was throwing over the bases. He was stepping off. He wasn't, looking. When you're 1-2 as a pitcher in a mess on the road, I kind of want to get the ball and be in attack mode because the hitter's already in a defensive mode. And but anyway, he extends the at bat where it goes to count full. He started missing wildly. The catcher made some really good plays to save a wild pitch. But so then they make the pitching change. So Marcelo comes out of the game. The kid who came in, Hernandez, I think it was his name. They have a couple of Hernandezes on the team, but he comes in obviously a tough spot, inheriting bases loaded with the top of the order. You don't really want to throw anything in the dirt for the chance of a wild pitch. So tough break there for Doral, and a great moment for Nico Sabatino. And you see he doesn't miss it, and the celebration's on. And 8-4, they hold on, win game one. And game two, the Doral comes back, wins that one 5-3. A great moment there for Doral. They force the game 3 at Doral on Saturday, which, you never know how that game 3 is going to turn out. And to the credit of the Raiders, St. Thomas wins it. And fittingly, they go to state with a 12-run game to win 12-6 in the closeout game, because offense has kind of been the stamp of St. Thomas this year. So the Raiders are going to state in 6A. Doral, again, another hat tip. Fans of the program. I know a lot of them are followers and supporters of the channel. So love every one of the Firebirds. Again, 2nd year in a row, Doral does not get to Fort Myers with certainly with a roster talented enough, but a battle of heavyweights. That's what happens. The great senior class that Doral had, the Jaden Nunez's, the Marcelo Rodriguez's, the Gabo Milanos, and but they have some really good young players as well. Have footage of some of them as well up on the channel. Check out the game highlights of that also on the channel. Let me take it down to 4A. because I was there earlier in the week to see American Heritage. Patriots are going back to state. Let me call them up real fast. Where the Patriots took care of Berlin Jesuit in 2 games. Did what good teams do. They're really on a roll. Heritage, they've won 12 in a row. This kind of cruised through the postseason. They're very focused. Obviously, they're playing all those games at home, and they're not losing that home field advantage. And they did their part. So again, they beat Berlin Jesuit 2 games to none. I think I got a highlight of my boy RJ Machado. Let's hope it's queued up and ready to roll. There we go. Let's get this going. Uh, let's hopefully it works. But this is highlights from game one where Heritage won game one. Let's see what that was. A refresher for me. Um, they won 5-0 on game one. Now, everything was pushed back a week because of the rain. They built that the week. The 1 through 4 classes were Monday, Tuesday, off day Wednesday, game threes on Thursday. But because of the rain out on Monday, it just pushed everything to Tuesday, Wednesday, and if there was a third game, it would have been played on Thursday. So I was able to see one of their games on Tuesday. Hopefully, RJ. We'll just leave it there and let it reset. But RJ Machado has been one of the real heroes for American Heritage. Here he is. I think it was a 2-run single right there. But game one, Mark Aliman, really good job by Mark. 6 innings, 8 strikeouts. I think he didn't give up a run. And so big moment there for Mark. Dylan Dubovic, he had a homer, 2 RBIs. Dylan's playing at a really high level as well. And then in the closeout game, they won 10-0 in game two. Big story for Heritage was getting Talon Holiday back there, ace. I'm going to give this thing a try until it works. We're going to stick with me. But getting Talon, he's been dealing with injuries, hasn't been on the mound much this season, but boy, did he step up. I think he had 8 strikeouts, I think it was, in the closeout game. Call this up. 5 innings, 8 strikeouts, no runs. I think he gave 2 hits. So Talon Holiday being back, huge for American Heritage, teaming up with Mark Aliman. So really good 1-2 punch for Heritage. So they're in a good spot. Pitching wise, their hitting has really caught fire, and they do have really good hitters, and they're going to have to hit. And you can see RJ over here, and we're hoping RJ will get a hit here. And that's live TV, folks. So, yeah, we'll skip that. You have to take my word for it, folks. RJ got a nice hit there. Drove in a couple of runs. He's been one of their most consistent hitters all year. In that second game, also, Jordan Rich and I think Dylan Dubovic each had doubles and triples. Both of those guys playing at a high level. Got to give some love to my boy Joey Castro. Really unsung, a guy who colleges should be all over. Some, I think, are just starting to know him. He missed last year. I think he had injury. So, going to state hopefully gives Joey Castro, some really good exposure. But up and down that lineup, the Patriots are really strong. So those were the 3 games I went to. And then obviously we'll just kind of give the let's take down the 1A. In 1A, we got Brito, from Miami. I have not seen them play. They're kind of a surprise team. They're in 1A. They're going to state. Congratulations to Brito. In 2A, looking forward to seeing this. I'm going to claim Palm Beach's St. Andrews from Boca Raton. They're coached by Joey Housey, the son of a good friend of mine, scout Joe Housey of the Colorado Rockies. I've known Joe for over 20 years, it seems like. And, so happy for the Housey family, happy for the program. St. Andrews, really good team. Looking forward to seeing them. 2A is going to be a bear, though. That's where you got Trinity Christian Academy out of Jacksonville. That should be a really interesting, but looking forward to seeing them. there. And then 3A, Miami Springs. I have not seen Miami Springs, but know that how good they are pitching wise. That should be really interesting to see how they do. Congratulations to Miami Springs. Looking forward to watching them. 4A, as noted, American Heritage. 5A, did not get to see them. I saw them this year. We got Matter Academy Charter. Congratulations to them. They beat Varela in 2 games, even though that game 2 looked like Varela was going to steal that for a while and force a game 3. But Matter Academy is very strong offensively. They're going in 5A. Looking forward to seeing them. They have some really, really good players. So looking forward to seeing Matter Academy Charter. And then, as noted, in 6A, St. Thomas Aquinas, and then 7A, Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. So my breakdown, we got 3 Broward, 3 Miami-Dade, and 2 Palm Beach County teams there. So South Florida will be well represented. Again, in 7A, we're going to see Jupiter, and maybe they're matched up in the semis against Stoneman Douglas. If so, that could be very interesting matchup. For all these teams, it's going to be interesting to see how you set your pitching. Are you going to go with, let's say you're in 4A and you're American Heritage and you're facing, obviously you got to get to the finals. Let's say you're 1 and Jesuits 2, or Jesuits 1 and you're 2, and you both win the semis. Do you go with Talon Holiday in the semifinals, or you say Talon Holiday for Jesuit? Because Jesuit has some pitcher. I think they got a lefty who throws like 95, who's a junior. They're one of the better teams in the country, and those teams 2023 Heritage in extra innings beat Jesuit. They were kind of the underdog that year. My buddy Zach Wilson got the winning hit as a sophomore, and then last year Talon pitched, and it wasn't his best game, but he showed a lot of heart in the mound and grit. Championship game, Jesuit gets the rematch and gets the revenge, and they win that and sets up a potential 3 in a row. But if you're the coaches, what do you do? Do you go with Mark Aliman, who's thrown really well, and hope you win that in the semifinals to get Talon in the championship game? Or if you don't go with your ace in the semifinals, do you risk losing that game? Same thing Douglas is going to have to ask themselves: is Gio Rojas going to pitch a championship game or the semifinals? We could go down the line, with these teams. How do you handle it? That's going to be fascinating to see what the coaches do. These coaches know their players. They know what to expect from them. But my little advice as I get off my soapbox here for all the players, some observations of seeing the deeper in the playoffs. I noticed it a little bit in closeout games. Control your emotions, guys. Pitchers especially. I'm talking to you pitchers. If you're the ace and you give up 4 runs in the first inning because you're amped up and you couldn't throw strikes, or you sped up your delivery and you put yourself in bad counts, and or you're going to be able to control your emotions, not get caught up in the moment, and just kind of let your talent take over. Because in single, when you're playing 2 of 3, even if Douglas had lost to West Broward, they still could win game 3 and go to Fort Myers. There is no safety net. There's no fallback. There's no tomorrow. So you got to win every inning, and you got to win one game, and then one more game. You got to win one game in the semis to go to the finals, and then one game in the finals, and you get the big trophy and the photos and the memories. So control your emotions, pitchers. Don't get too caught up in it. Those who will control their emotions will really put themselves in a good spot. Other little bit of observational things for some of the teams that are playing in high schools, fields that some aren't super big, the St. Thomases, the Dourals, and even, just pretty much everybody but U School, everybody but NSU University in South Florida doesn't play in a college or a pro size stadium. And the U School is the only one, because NSU University, the university plays on that field as well, meaning when you get to Hammond Stadium in Fort Myers, which is the home of the Minnesota Twins, that's a big ballpark. So outfielders especially, I would really observe your distancing, how deep you are for certain hitters, because this is now where the pros are playing. Home runs are, you could pull the ball and homer. Nick Diaz did that last year, but if you're going to the middle of the field, I didn't think I saw anyone hit a homer in center. last year in the state playoffs. I've seen homers go to the on the both sides, but nothing to center because this is, a huge ballpark. So, if you're the base runners, if you notice the outfielders are deep, you could go from first to third easier. Fast runners, pay attention to this. Slower runners, you might say, hey, I might be able to beat this out. So the outfield dimensions will be a factor. I noticed last year balls that guys hit that would be home run in high school fields, are not even reaching the warning track and they're outs. So defensively, you'd be best to have outfielders with speed, for your defensive alignments, but the ballpark will be a factor. But so study it, kind of scout and feel how can you best approach these situations. But other than that, enjoy it, guys. Guys, gals, moms, dads, everyone, enjoy. This is an amazing experience, regardless of the outcome. Just it's a privilege to go to play in a facility like Hammond Stadium, to be in such an environment. I, as a veteran sports writer for over 40 years, with still a card-carrying BBWA member, could go to any big league game whenever I want. I've covered World Series. I've covered all that. It's still a privilege and an honor to be at anything with a championship. So take it all in. Don't get too caught up in the moment where you lose focus that you are at a state semifinal and potentially a state final, venue. So enjoy all that, everyone. Enjoy Mother's Day. Curtain Call podcast just coming on strong. Like I said, I'll probably do some shorter little videos as we get rolling into the week and as my time comes up, because I will be writing for High School on SI. Might be doing some stuff for the Miami Herald as well as needed. So Man on Second will be wearing multiple hats. Obviously, I'll be loading the channel up. Again, please like and subscribe to the channel. I think I'm wearing my "Don't forget to like and subscribe" shirt. So we got all that going for us. But with that, this has been the Curtain Call podcast, and we will check everyone out in the next